Having a relaxing day here at home. I'm watching the club finals, the club semi-finals rather, on TG4, the football finals. The first game was Castlehaven versus St. Bridget's from Roscommon. And this next match now is going to be a good one. It's actually a replay of the All-Ireland club final last year between Kilmacud Crokes and the Glen. I think it's called the Glen. A very good club side, and it was a very tight game last year in the final. So looking forward to this, Kilmacud boys there. Looking forward to this game now. It should be a good one. The day itself is kind of a freezing fog day all day, and it's very, very hard to get warm, and obviously being inside all day is grand. I was out this morning for my run, and my biggest job now is simply staying warm and taking it easy before I go back to work tomorrow. So I have to make sure we have plenty of coal here. But it's 3:45 in the day, and the fog really hasn't lifted all day. I'm not sure the frost has entirely lifted either. So anyway, we need to be sure we have coal and fuel. So we have fuel there, with coal there, and we have some surreptitious briquettes. Getting briquettes now is a bit like smuggling fuel years ago, except it's a different type of fuel we're smuggling now. I'm not smuggling it now. I'm just availing of the opportunity when it presents itself, because you can't beat the briquettes to get a fire started. So that's it. Having a beer and looking forward to this game. There's the usual hour on the Veen, and my biggest task, responsibility now is to keep the fire going. So we'll have to have a look, see how it's going now. It's shook enough. The fire. These conditions now are absolutely terrible. I don't know whether you can pick it up there from my video or not, but I mean, those boys appear to be playing in fog, which is very unfair, especially in such an important game, semi-final of an All-Ireland. Look, there's the footage there. Absolutely appalling. So I don't know whether this game is going to go ahead. It's 2-1 after 5 minutes, but I mean, it doesn't seem to me to be fair. It's 9-4 now at half time in favour of Glen. And Kilmacud Crokes, remember, are the All-Ireland club champions. So there may well be an upset, a significant upset on the cards. That's not to say that Glen didn't put up a great fight against Kilmacud last year and could have won the game. And obviously this game would have been seen as one that's going to be close. But 9-4 at half time is over double scores. So that is where the upset would come from. Now, having said that, Kilmacud might make a big plunge in the second half, make a strong comeback. But Glen are looking good at the moment anyway. And there'd be no harm, I suppose, to see a change in the roll of honour, as it were. This match has been an absolutely remarkable match. Watty Graham's from Glen have been 7 points up at some points in the second half. And, oh Jesus Christ, can't believe that. I cannot believe that. 7 points up at one point in the second half, and Kilmacud, in fairness, came back and drew level. Watty Graham's then went a point ahead. Then they went a goal ahead in extra time. It's extra time now, as near the last minute, and now Kilmacud are after getting a soft goal, very soft goal. Would have kicked it wide now. So Watty Graham's are 1 point ahead, were 7 points ahead at 1 point in the second half, and Kilmacud did very, very well to come back, but Waddy Graham's are 1 point ahead. It's the 63rd minute, and there's supposed to be 4 minutes of extra time, so the game should be up in the next half a minute or so. In fact, it should be up now because 64 minutes are on the clock. So let's wait and see. Waddy Graham's of Glen are 1 point ahead, and the ref has just blown it up, so they've won by a point. I think they deserved it on balance. I think poetic justice has been done, but Jesus, it was a close one. It was an excellent game given the conditions and given the fog and so on. Now I'm going to par bake some sourdough bread. I've started this last week and it worked out pretty well, so I'm going to do it again this week. And when I say par bake, I mean I bake sourdough bread at the weekend, and if I bake 2 on a Saturday or 2 on a Sunday, say, or 1 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday, then I have 2 loaves. But by the time the first loaf has been eaten by, say, Wednesday, there's only the 2 of us in the house, then the second loaf is not quite as fresh as it is, obviously, when I bake it first. And we were freezing them, but I don't think it's quite as good when you freeze it and it defrost it. So we have been freezing the second loaf, as it were, and taking it out on a Wednesday or Thursday in the middle of the week when we need it. But last week I par baked one. In other words, I baked for 75% of the time the particular bread in question, and then I put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer. And then that was at the weekend when I had time. And then during the week when I needed the bread, when I needed fresh bread, I took it out when I came home from work one evening and baked it off, and it was top notch. It was excellent. So I'm doing that again. I have a sourdough bread here. I'll show it to you now. So this is the sourdough bread we have. All that's in this is it's a rye sourdough bread, and it's got cranberries in it, so it should be nice. So we have to get that ready now for baking. Okay, so I'm going to have to get a peel first for this, and I have one here. I'll get some semolina. Put the semolina on the peel. Semolina is good for allowing the dough to slide off the peel into the oven. So we'll just get the bread there, which is ready to go, or nearly ready to go. We've got to get it out of this banneton. There we go. Cranberries. The red blotches there are the cranberries. We'll score it down the middle. And I'm going to bake this for 75% of the time that I'd normally bake for. And today is Sunday. Just going to bake that now for half an hour, which is 75% of the normal time required. Today is Sunday. During the week then, when I want fresh bread, I'll take it out of the freezer. I'll bake this for 30 minutes, stick it in the freezer then in a Ziploc bag, and during the week when I want fresh bread, I'll take it out, and I might stick it in the fridge overnight to actually defrost, and then when I come home from work the next evening, I'll stick it in the oven and finish it off. So bake it for a further 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. So stick on the timer now for 30 minutes. And then the whole idea obviously is that you actually make or do most of the work that you need to do for the bread at the weekend when you have time. And then during the week when you are less flush with time, when you're more time pressed but you need fresh bread, then you bake off what you've already frozen. And this particular method of par baking is not unique, or it's not revolutionary or anything. it's actually quite common. And years ago, when I was in the retail game, Cuisine de France introduced par baking into the retail environment, and that's how shops and petrol stations and so on were able to have fresh bread. It wasn't that they had proper bakeries or anything, it's that they were getting in frozen bread, par-baked bread from Cuisine de France. They had cold rooms, freezer rooms, and then in the morning to have your deli rocking, you par-baked, you baked off the bread that you got in, which would be rolls and baguettes and all sorts of French bread, and the pastries is the same story. And it's the background to the par baking. That's what I am at now, and the whole idea is to give me fresh bread during the week when I want it, when I need it, and not at the weekend. Now just waiting for the alarm to go off. A couple of minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, and that's 75% baked. Is going to go into the freezer. I'm going to stick it in the freezer, put it in a Ziploc bag, stick it in the freezer, and then I take it out later in the week when I need it. For the moment, we've enough bread. But one thing I forgot to mention was that when I take it out, before you freeze it, you must let it cool first. You must let it cool completely. So I'm going to take it out now and let it cool on the rack here completely. This bread this bread obviously had a weakness. It had a weakness here on the right hand side, as you can see, and that obviously indicates what happened there is there's a weakness there on the right side of the bread, and rather than it opening up here, I scored the bread here, remember, and rather than it opening up there, there's been a weakness there on the right hand side, and that weakness actually probably goes back to when I actually put the bread, got it ready and put it in the Bannerton basket, and didn't seal it properly. So that's what's happened. Anyway, it just goes to show you that it's unique. Every loaf is like a child. It's unique, and that's it. It'll still be all right, but as I say, I've never had one like this before. I mean, this looks like a bloody tumour, but it is what it is, and we will eat it. But the key now is to let this cool down fully before we freeze it. And anyway, that's the bread there now. It's a bit of a disaster. There's clearly what looks like a bloody tumour on the side of the bread, but these things happen. That's the end of the vlog anyway for this week. I might do one of these vlogs sort of every week, or maybe more than one a week, or maybe one every fortnight, whatever. So I enjoy making them, and I'm wanting to improve my skills as a videographer, and just being more comfortable with the camera and camera angles and so on and so forth. And telling stories is useful as well, and building a connection with an audience. So that's why I make these vlogs. Anyway, that's the end of it this week. If you like it, give it a thumbs up down below, and let me know if you want to see more of them. Even if you don't want to see more of them, quite frankly, I'm going to make them anyway, because I'm doing this not necessarily for you, but for me. Obviously, it's great if you like it too, and yes, I say it helps build a connection and so on, but I get a lot out of making these videos as well, these little films, simply because I'm improving my skills and getting more comfortable with the camera, and getting more comfortable in speaking to the camera, talking to the camera, getting more comfortable with audio, different angles, etc., etc. So that's it. Hit the thumbs up button down below if you like it, and you won't see the bread in, when it's going to be consumed, as it were, later in the week, but you've seen the gestation of it as such.